Okay, I don't really like to use the word game-changing very often, but this RS4 intelligent tracking module has been, there's no other way to describe it for me personally and professionally. This has been a game changer in how I operate my gimbal on a professional set. I'm just personally completely shocked that this little $69 add-on to my RS4 Pro and goes on my RS4 as well would make as big a difference when I'm out there shooting. But rest assured, this thing absolutely makes a huge difference when I'm out there shooting professionally, especially obviously when I'm getting people in any kind of gimbal type shot. Now I know that there's been other trackers out there from DJI like this Raven Eye, and you can get some of the Focus Pros and stuff like that. The thing that's really just surprised me about this intelligent tracking module is just how consistent and simple it is. That being said, I do think there are 3 major mods that you should have for this intelligent tracking module just to get the best results. And when I say mods, these are modifications. 2 of them are gonna be software. One's gonna actually be a little physical, little hack that I've got. Oh, hey, and do me a favor, if you find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It is so hard to keep a YouTube channel going these days, and your subscriptions are the only thing that keep this thing going. Now, the first thing that I would say is going to be a software thing. If you swipe over here to the left on your back chain, you're gonna see your active track settings. The first thing that you need to do, this is the single most important modification you need to do if you're doing this, come to composition, and you can basically do center tracking or keep current framing. I would strongly recommend that you modify this so that it is keep current framing, because what it's gonna do, it's gonna basically take wherever you put this subject in the frame, and it's going to really understand and respect that and keep that. So even if you're going around a subject, if you have them on, say, a right third or a left third, even if you're going in a circle, it's gonna do a really, really good job of keeping them on that third. Much, much better, I found, than I can try and do like a circle move and try and keep my subject frame the way I want. So that is a very, very important thing. I found that this keep current framing works very, very effectively anywhere from, honestly, 16 all the way up to 50 plus millimeters on a subject. I have found if you're getting over that 70 millimeter mark, it can drift a little bit just because you're using those longer ones. But honestly, I've used my 24 to 70 on my gimbal all the time. I can put it up at 70 millimeters and get pretty consistent tracking. I have noticed that you can get a little more inconsistency once you get to that 70 mark. It still does it really well, but then I feel like this is really designed for 70 millimeters and wider lenses, just so you know. Now, the other thing I would change on here that I think is very, very important is going to be your active track speed. And this thing is defaulted to medium, and I just found medium to be a little too jumpy and mechanical and too responsive. I found that setting this to slow, this is gonna be really important. Set this to a slow speed. What's gonna do, it gets you a much more organic vibe and feel and a follow when you're tracking your subject. So I'd say that's the second major modification that is going to be very, very important. Now, the third modification is actually a type of hack, I guess you would say, and that is really my biggest issue that I've come up with this intelligent tracking module is actually it snaps in here, you know, these magnetic snaps, you kind of pop it in there and you're good to go. But I've just found the way that I shoot running around all day and doing this stuff is that it's really easy just to kind of have this thing kind of get jigged up and take up a little bit. Now, that being said, it's super easy when you're doing it, you just push it right back in and do it. But I've honestly found just a little piece of gaff tape is a really good thing. And what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and take a piece of gaff tape and I'll just tape the side of it here. And it just kind of puts it on there. It keeps it locked on a little bit better. The other option, if you don't want to use a gaff tape and you're wanting to be a little more risk, is actually to use the lock on this in a different way. So for instance, you can see right here, when you put this on, you can lock it in so this stays up. But honestly, I found if you pop that up like this and don't lock the hook up here, well, this actually does a really good job of keeping this thing secured on there as well. Now, you do run the risk if now you haven't secured a USB connection, so that is something, you know, to take into account. But I found this thing hooks in there pretty good. So if you're in a situation that you need maybe just a quick little hook if this thing's coming out that's driving you crazy, flip the lock up. It's probably not recommended by DJI, but I do find that works best. But at the end of the day, I would probably recommend putting that lock in place so you know you're not gonna lose anything, and just using a little piece of gaff tape tape it on there, and that'll keep it from popping out on you. And really the last thing I would say, just as maybe a small bonus modification if you're thinking about it, is I have noticed I have been using my RS4 a lot with an SCR and this intelligent tracking module. And I have noticed that my battery does drain faster than if I'm just using that. So I would recommend getting one of the DJI RS4 high capacity batteries. This gives you a much more comfortable runtime once you start running with all this stuff. And it's just a nice addition to have to your kit if you think you need that. And if you're starting to sweat about having battery power as you start adding things like the intelligent module tracker or maybe an SDR onto your gimbal system. Anyway, guys, I decided I'd like to share that with you. I've just been so impressed with this little tool and how it's changed my ability to get shots quicker and more consistently on professional shoots. And I've just found these 3 modifications are things that work really, really well for me. Hopefully, they'll do the same for you. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Leave me notes in the comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.